So,
right.
what did you want to? Did you see this being a relocation podcast, or did you see this being a life podcast?
I mean, I think that, I guess I really wanted it to be, or thought it could be a both, because, I think that through, like, my exploration through LinkedIn, I realized that we aren't just work,
Right.
And I think that we should talk about things that are very, pertinent to the industry and very relevant, but then also go into how we handle things. Because that's why we have long conversations in the first place, is that we handle a lot.
So for me, I want to have a relocation podcast because I think that I can attack relocation-based issues with a sharpness and a freshness that most people don't have, right?
Right.
Because everybody's super corporate and people don't really get real in relo.
That's true.
But the value I see in our conversations are almost always personal.
Yeah, right. That's why
they're almost always about being a youngish person. We're not young anymore, but a youngish person. They're about, dynamics, young versus old, black, white, sales versus clients,
right.
Husband, wife, father, kids, renter, homeowner. Like, they're always about dynamics as we kind of move through life, encountering these dynamics, pushing through in some cases, growing in some cases, learning. To me, that's always zero email versus never delete. Like, we always kind of look at topics, like debate the opposites of topics, and I find that those are, to me, the most entertaining, and frankly, that has almost nothing to do with relocation. So I could almost see two different themes. Now I'm like making more work, right? It's like maybe just start off easy, but to me,
it has to make sense. It has to make sense. It can't be. We can't. I don't want to jump all over the place either. Like, it has to have some type of. If you want somebody to watch,
some common thread.
Yeah, like, it has to have some commonality between each episode or each podcast. So I definitely want to. I want to make sure, because you cover relocation and can talk about relocation more.
Well, a little bit, but to be honest, if I wanted to have a relocation podcast, you wouldn't be the first guest I would call up. I would be like, John Zilka, come over here, or Eve Seib, or Tax Hank Roth from Dogwood, like Tax Dude, like, you know what I mean? But that also wouldn't be super interesting, fascinating stuff. To me,
John Zilka, though, and
even he's a little guarded from time to time. He's like, on the low, he's a cool, real dude, but like, he also realizes he's the president of a relocation company. He has to keep a facade. We're fortunate. It's a blessing and a curse to be where we are. We're prominent enough, but we couldn't like kill a company probably.
Yeah, I can't. I've tried. Like, it just doesn't work.
Like, if I said some dumb shit on wax, Bill could always fire me and be like, "Oh, we're moving away from this crazy kid.
Exactly.
We're never, that's not who university is. That's not in keeping with the standards of university."
Then we'd have to do a spin-off podcast.
Yeah. So then I have to get a job and be crazy somewhere else. But so I guess my point is, I think we should talk about the things that interest us, and we shouldn't force the relocation thing, because there's a lot of relocation content out there. The thing that makes us unique, I think, is our perspectives and the candor with which we discuss things, and how well we know each other. And I think we need to be. I think it's better to be almost more real and more personal, to be more professional.
And I think that, if you go to a conference, obviously all the breakout sessions or panels are always very relocation heavy and based. But some of the best ones are the people that have the panelists that are very personable and talk kind of more about the personal effect that it had on family or their job or career situation.
Those are the most popular ones. Yeah. I've been on 2 planning committees. It's okay
to be serious, but then also we are very human. Yeah. We're only at work 8 to 10 hours a day. For me, 6 probably, maybe 5.
At work, 0.
Okay, at work. Yeah, I'm never at work.
In boxers, checking email, 8 to
10. Give me 10.
10.
I'll do 10 if I'm in boxers.
Well, you gotta subtract the run.
Okay. 5.
So I agree with you. So whenever conferences are planned, and then afterwards the surveys come back on what people's favorite part was, it was always the keynote speaker.
Yeah, exactly.
And the keynote speaker never knows shit about reload.
Nothing.
They always try to drop a, well, if I was a relocation management company,
dude,
you know, like stop. Okay, like stop checking out your buzzwords that you're supposed to like.
Let's just go back to how to be successful.
Yeah, exactly. Like wake up early, do burpees, and treat people right.
Exactly.
You know?
Right.
So and so anyway, so I think that's what we give people.
Yeah.
We give people that.
I like that.
'Cause that's what they really want. They don't need more tax information. They don't need more, tips on shipping autos, 8 tank or less, and moving company, like bullshit.
But then, like you said, if it comes up in conversation or whatever, then or we can have like the relocation minutes.
And I'm like, don't use a rogue mover. All right, moving on. No, exactly. so I say let's keep it real.
Yeah.
Reload happens. Let's keep it real. Do we want to have a title, or do we want to just work?
Did you just try to do the title like right then?
One take off top.
Relocation happens.
Relocation happens.
I don't know.
It's not bad. But then we recenter it around relocation. Yeah. I think we have to. Well, our following is going to be in relocation because that's our space. But I think it's more like of a real talk type of thing.
Yeah, and I think that because I think that the people that watch your videos are watching your videos, one, because of you, and your connection with all these people, and they like you as a person, most of them, and but then also you do come extremely heavy with relocation facts and knowledge, and very strong opinions on certain things that most people probably wouldn't say, but you say it and it makes sense, people love it. But then at the same time, you'll post a video about giving back and how it made you feel, and running into people and doing interviews with people that probably shouldn't be interviewing, or or just in general. Like,
back up. Interviews with people I shouldn't be interviewing. Could you expound on that?
Okay, so the post about the gentleman where you just kind of denied him. You shut him down. So I watched it and it was like, wow, I mean, it seemed harsh to me. I was like, well, I mean,
when I said you're just not good enough,
blah blah blah, and I'm just thinking like, hey, the kid just made some mistakes, and I troll most of your content.
100%, I would expect nothing
less. I troll like heavy. I may not like at first. I'll troll first, see if it's okay to like, then like but in real life. But so I read it and was like, wow, that's kind of whatever. I was in line with everybody else, like, yeah, it's kind of rough, whatever. But I know you, and I know you wouldn't have just done anything out of the just to be mean, right?
Right.
But then I call you, it comes to find out it's like a whole story. Like you wanted the video to.
I put it lightly, like
you put it super lightly.
Homie did not have a driver's license.
Dude should not. He
got pulled over twice in the last 5 years driving without a license.
So basically,
that's real.
He picked the restaurant that you were interested in. Is that what it was?
Well, to get me to go to lunch.
A good restaurant.
Well, I didn't know he had such a.
You didn't know?
I didn't know he had such a problematic background.
Oh, okay.
So as we're going through, okay, do you have a truck? No. Okay, cool.
That's fine.
Do you have enough money to run a business, operating capital? Oh, no? Okay.
Do
you have people that would want to work for you that could bring on new capacity? Oh, they already work here. You'd just be stealing them from the other guy that works here? That sounds problematic. So go back to this no truck. You do have a CDL, right? No, you don't. Oh, you don't have a driver's license at all.
Oh, so no, not even. So it wasn't like a.
Oh, you don't have a driver's license. You don't have a truck. You don't have any people that don't currently work for us, and you don't have any money. Tell me again. What am I getting here?
A problem.
Oh, a problem.
Yeah, sound like a problem.
Yeah. So that's the 5-finger death punch right there, because you do not come back from that. But what's funny is
you need to do something with that.
Yeah. Nice. So anyway, so I try to help people, but when they just can't check any boxes, and frankly, I put the future of everyone else that works here on the line.
Yeah, of course.
Because I have a duty and a responsibility. I don't know if you feel this way, when occasionally you go to Newburyport. When I walk in the office, I do really sometimes think, when my sales are down, let's say, I really do think about the fact that I fund people's paychecks.
Yeah,
do you think about that?
Yeah, I do, and I think it's a weird feeling though. It's a weird thought, but at the same time, when you're doing well, you don't really think about that. Like you said, those moments when maybe sales are down, or you're just not hitting your number that you wanted to, or that that the company wants you to. Then you start thinking okay, well, if we don't do something different, or if I stay in this lane too long, this could affect other people. But then at the same time, when you're doing well, you do realize you are growing.
That's when you go tell people, hey, I fund your paycheck.
By the way, and then in the strangest
people don't like
though,
that, by the way. So it's not good career advice.
With you, it's really cool though that you're here. You're here. And it's typically the director or business development manager is or vice president.
I mean, just demote me twice, whatever. It's all good.
VP of sales.
Makes me work that much harder, Thomas. Sorry.
Normally, we're in the building, right?
Yeah.
But since I'm not, and I haven't been for 4 or 5 years now, it is different for me. Like I go back, and it's almost like we know who you are, but we don't know who you are. Like, what do you do here again?
Yeah, tell me about this. Right. So Thomas Bailey walks through the door, aka Black Jesus, walks through the door, Real Trans in Newburyport, right? In Newburyport on the sea, and walks through. Mister, I got 2,000 cars or whatever your number is. I don't even know. How close was I?
Wait, to how many cars? What that we do?
Do you ship? How many cars you ship?
Oh, 16,000.
16. You ship. How many you ship?
Me ship?
You ship.
I don't know. Like, how? I mean, what do you mean here?
What's Thomas Bailey's car number? How many cars you ship, man?
Well, I mean, like personally?
Yeah, like under the Thomas Bailey header. How many?
Oh, of the 16,000.
Yeah.
Are my clients?
Yeah.
11, 10.
Dang. Okay. No, it's fine. Toot it, man. It's a horn. Toot it.
Maybe 10,000.
Okay, bro. Respect, man. Respect. Okay.
I mean, I've been there for a while.
I'm asking him. I'm not putting. I mean, he didn't come here to toot his own. I'm tooting it.
Yeah,
for
I got
you,
uncomfortable.
giving you a platform for a second. I know you're like, I don't know. This proprietary.
Wait
it's proprietary. I'm not allowed to say that.
I'm like, let me get that number.
That's a lot of cars. So Black Jesus walks in with his 10,000 cars, and people are like, "Yo, I heard about you." But so, what is that like? How do people treat you?
Okay, so like there's the newer people because we're constantly hiring. Each year we have either whether it's from admin to just straight up new hires that kind of come in under the. They just it's not like they get here's who's who in the company.
Let me tell you about this.
Let me tell you
slide. Let me tell you about this guy.
Right. Oh, last but not least, Thomas Bailey.
Roll the clip.
And this is what he does, and then they show me like running, and
building bikes for children,
all this great
shipping
greatness,
a million cars,
hanging out with Ben. That's probably the best part of it.
4-minute miles.
No, keep saying that one day. How close? Fast is like 6-minute miles.
6-minute
fastest.
miles.
Like that's like
you eating a box of Cheez-Its.
That's like deathbed. Yeah.
Okay, deathbed.
Deathbed.
Okay.
So like no, so when I walk in, I mean it's obviously we know we've seen your name on certain things.
On happy orders.
I don't have much like direct contact with most because there's so many layers now in between a coordinator and me at this point. Just because if I get involved with that, I might mess it up. Who knows? So it's not like it's underwhelming. Like it really,
underwhelming.
Yes, it's because it's like
so you walk in and you expect a little bit of a parade, like
so
like the Patriots 7th Super Bowl. Like
for a long time in my life, I wanted to wave. You know how when you let somebody over in front of you on purpose, you want them to wave, right? And they don't, and it's almost like it's super offensive to not wave, right?
Like I don't get a wave,
right? Like I literally slowed down and let you over. So a long time, like for in marriage and everything, relationships, I wanted to wave,
Tip of the cap.
So now I don't really care so much. I did for a while. It really there was a couple moments where I was like,
who I am?
I think I had to sit down with my boss, like, do they know like what I do? And he's like, oh yeah, I mean yeah, of course they know. Like I'm like, well, it doesn't feel like it,
Yeah.
But then I realized like it doesn't really matter, and they're just like they're just doing their jobs or whatever. Yeah. So like it is underwhelming at moments. There's no Black Jesus carpet rollout. If there was a black carpet that rolled out instead of red, that'd be ooh,
yeah,
like a black velvet carpet.
You know what goes with that? The Real Trans black card. That's what goes with that too.
I mean,
so, hey, shout out to Frank Purple Don, rocking the lavender for you, buddy.
Yeah.
So hook my man up with the black card.
He swears he doesn't wear purple.
Oh, he wears it
all the time.
All the time.
But so it is. For a long time, it was like a rub with me. Like, 'cause I felt like I'm working hard to do these things, and I wanted somebody to say, "Oh, hey, thanks so much for the job." I don't know, like, why I'd want somebody to say that, but then I realized like that's part of being within a good company and a part of a team. I mean, because if everybody's like, if you got some guy walking in and everybody rolls the carpet out for him every time he comes in, I don't want to work for a company like that. That's just so focused on just a guy that's doing his job. Like I get paid to do my job.
How much, like, what motivates you at this point in your career? Are you, so I always go back to, like, that what was it, Love Languages or something?
Yeah,
was that a Joel Osteen or something?
No, it's
who wrote that book?
I don't know who wrote it, but it's the 5 love languages, and there's, like, subsets under that.
Yeah.
Really good. Like, if you,
so I never read it, but I heard enough about it
Yeah.
that I feel like, so when in business, what is your love language? What really boosts you?
I guess I can't remember all the titles of each one of them, but I think my thing is like to feel like needed. You know, I don't necessarily like I don't need the pat on the back anymore. Like I don't need the praise.
See,
right?
mine is and will be, I think, words of affirmation. That was one of the love languages, and I feel like I like the kudos. I like the memo saying, you know, Ben just did something excellent, or the awards, or I need that. I like that.
I think that
even more so than
partly,
money, honestly.
I think that's partly mine too. And that's probably where I got a little mixed up, where it's like I need people to say, "Oh, hey," you know, like it'd be weird, like, "Oh, hey, Thomas."
Okay, but I'm pause for a second because we're friends, and
Yeah.
this is why this is a good conversation.
All right.
Because I'm gonna call bullshit for a second. Because you don't take compliments very well. I call you and I tell you what a great friend you are, how much you mean to me, or a lot of the stuff that I'm not even, you know, loose enough to really talk about yet. But point being is, and you're always like, stop, shut up, Ben, shut up.
I mean, because I think sometimes, to be honest, I think sometimes, like, I know I do good, I know I do well for me, you know, and then, but sometimes, like, when you'll say something like, dude, you're doing, I'll compare, like, dude, you're ahead in the race, or whatever, if there was a race, you're ahead in the race, and you're like, that's like somebody really fast, like running, like passing by the guy that is like.
And just so you know, in this equation, I'm the really fast guy. I just want on record here. I'm the fast guy.
So like, you know, like it happens like in races, like you'll be running, and then like somebody will pass you, like on this trail race I did. It was like 15-mile trail race, and it's really thin, like it's very narrow. There is no passing unless you let somebody pass, you know. And so like you just got to hear them coming. You kind of get out the way, you know. And like there's a couple people that would go past you, and then you pull over a little bit. They go whizzing past you. They're like, "Keep up the good work, good job." Like, dude.
And you're like, "F you, man."
Like, dude.
But at the end, when y'all are deathbed drinking Gatorade or whatever at the end, and he comes up to you and he says, "Hey, man, good race. By the way, you're the reason I ran so fast because he had to pass you, right?
Yes, true.
He had to pass you." So if he wasn't looking at you, if you weren't there, he would have never probably went as fast.
So you're saying that you passed me and you?
Thank you for that. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm saying thank you for letting me pass you. I'm scooting over a little bit while I'm
some Gatorade and water and beers.
Yeah. So
and then you're like, hey, you did a good job. You're the reason why I'm like rich right now. Thank you.
If you weren't third, I wouldn't be first.
Dan could be third. I could be second. I couldn't get second.
I don't know. It's fake. It's a hypothetical story. I don't know.
But
just
yeah, so
you said there were multiple people that passed you.
So like I think it's like one of those things. Like I want people to say, yeah, you're doing a great job, you know. But then I maybe I'll push it away. Like, oh yeah. Like, but I still need to hear it. I still want to hear it. I just don't handle like that attention well sometimes.
So I think there's also like the psychology, right, where it's like if I hear that and I accept that and I pat myself on the back and I own that, does my drive go down? Have I now accomplished something and therefore I'm not striving as much?
Or has the bar now been, if I accept that, now is the bar higher for me? You know?
Ooh.
Because now I have to meet these standards of like, you know, like if it happens all the time. If somebody said like, oh, well, if you play pool really well, then they go, oh, this guy's a shark, you know, and as soon as you get there, like let's just play first, you know, like let me do that. But now you've already set me up as a shark. Now I have to.
Or you kind of want people to sleep on you a little bit so that you can hurdle that bar rather easily.
Right. Maybe.
Than setting that bar so high and every day you have to hit that.
Maybe. I mean, maybe that's the thing. Like, maybe I just would rather. I'd want you to say, you know, especially for people that like, you know, that own our company and like the guy that sits there purple down and says, yo, you gotta whatever. He sets these standards for me anyway. I definitely want him and other people that are in my circle to say yes, blah, blah, blah. But then coming from you sometimes, especially back in the day, I'm like, dude, shut up with the whole song and dance. You're just trying to make me feel good. But now I know that you meant it. You know, I didn't know at the time.
What changed?
Me. You know? Like,
you changed.
You know, I went through a lot of changes in the last...
So I've been saying the same thing for years now.
But then, I had to change to accept it. You know? Like, I had to be okay with my situation.
So that's so much about how perception of other people, like other people's actions, really has more to do with your own perception and where you are as a person,
and where you stand in this,
than what they're doing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure people deal with it all day long. You know, like when you're people. I mean, people don't like other people that they work with, not because that person did anything wrong. It's just because they're not okay with whatever situation they're in, or they feel like they...
Case in point, email, right? And this is going to be a good segue, right? Okay. Case in point, email. Somebody writes you an email, and you can read it like, will you please send me the TPS report? Or, would you please send me the TPS report? Like,
who reads it like that? Yeah. Like, when you
I had this one lady, every email, she's like, Ben, come over here and read this. You know, and she would read it out loud. Can you please send me the TPS report?
Where does it say?
She just needs the TPS report.
Where does it say, like, mean undertone? Like, please read this with a terrible tone. Yeah. And then you read it. Like,
but that person hated herself, and everybody was out to get her, and everybody thought they were better than her, and blah, 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 blah.
Because...
And you know, so anyway, okay, so that's a perfect segue into email.
All right.
Because I think this is this topic. We've talked about this. I think we were talking about this yesterday. I think it's one of the things, honestly, that made us want to do this talk.
Yeah.
Was because we were on different sides of the coin with email. Mm-hmm. And you had asked me, what was the question you asked me?
So my question to you was, how many emails are in your inbox right now?
And I was like, define in my inbox.
And right then, I might as well just back out of the conversation at that moment. Because if you have to ask me, if I say how many emails are currently in your inbox, and you say define in your inbox, that means there's like an insane amount. And there was more in your inbox than I thought was even possible to be in inboxes.
So you had insane amount. Okay, must be insane amount. And then I was over here.
Right, yeah. Like,
do you recall the number that was actually in it? Because when you told, I said, you mean the little like blue number in parentheses like, over here? No, those are unread.
That's unread. Like, so your number for you, what you thought was in inbox was your unread messages.
And I was close on that number.
Which was
24,000.
No. Not unread, was it?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
24,000 unread emails.
I thought, like, when you said which box.
I've only been here 3 years.
when you said which, like, how, when you asked me, like, how do you determine whatever, I'm thinking, okay, 12,000 probably in the man's inbox, you know, just sitting there, you know?
Yeah.
And it
total. Read and unread.
Unread. I probably would have gave you, but I gave you something much different. I thought, okay, 12,000 or whatever, or 15,000, just total inbox, and I gave you like maybe 50 unread because like I figured you'd like open like just to like click and open, you know, like.
You thought I was a responsible business person.
I did.
Who took care of their customers and listened to people.
I did, and then I found out that was
correction.
But can I say the number that's in there?
Tell them.
77,000, like, in your inbox.
I have 77,000
inbox.
In emails in my inbox that are both read and unread. Of those,
20-something thousand.
24,000 something are unread. So a third.
But then you kind of broke it down though. Like you get a different type of email than I get though. You get a lot of emails.
Next level email.
I wouldn't say.
Well, you're like, are they from Home Depot? I'm like, no, they're not from Home Depot. I mean, they're
from Lowe's.
No, I mean they're
right. No, but like so they're. But you,
And you said, well, they important. I said, well, it depends who you ask, because the person who sent them to me probably thinks.
Yeah, like why has he not answered my? But I guess so. Like so, mine are more like like task. Like, I mean, yours are too, but.
The ones that say, "Can you do this?" Yeah, I read those.
Right, but then those, you get different, like you get lead things and
I'm like on these like lead aggregators that send me like 20, 30.
And so to you it's spam. To you it's almost spam. To others in your organization, they're opening because that's their.
It's a nice to know, and I keep it for reference. And here's the beautiful part.
Do you have subfolders?
No, I don't do folders.
Then so it's not even there's not.
It's all one just big old. Here you go.
So like,
and then I go to the top and I search and I say, okay, this email was about dogs and donuts. Let me put dogs and donuts, and then there it is. And as long as it wasn't sent over a year and a half ago, it hasn't been archived. By the way, that's actually only the last 2 years. Because I think I've been archiving since 2018 beginning. It might be a year and a half. Yeah, we start auto archiving stuff.
Well, I mean, so like I guess.
So now talk about your philosophy.
But mine is different though. I'm like, how many emails do you get a day?
I mean, I could pull the receipts.
Just, I mean, what are you thinking?
Pull
like
the receipts.
like 1,000?
No,
like 500. 300.
I would say honestly, the way I measure it is like how many scrolls is it? It's probably like that many, and if each one's like a centimeter, then I'm saying
you're on your iPhone.
I'm probably like 100.
100 something.
120. I'm guessing.
I mean, I think I'm like.
How many you get?
I think I'm like at 80, 90.
Probably in the same ballpark. And if I deleted all the,
I'm like I delete. So
tell me about that compulsion that you have.
It's not a compulsion, right? It's like. Number one, you guys have an amazing server.
I think I get my unfair share. I think because of my level.
I think that I get
pass.
Let's just keep buying him storage,
yeah,
you know. But so
I'm sure it's important,
right? So it must be important if he has that many emails. That's
a smart guy. He'd delete them if he didn't.
They're like in part of your year-end review, they're like 77,000. Good job, Ben. keep that up.
Yeah, fucking email.
Right? No. So I just don't want, because I've been in my irresponsible If you're looking at them and you're doing the same thing I'm doing, but I'm just deleting them at this point. Before, I had a little moment in my little career that I was maybe not necessarily responsible with the actual emails. So that I did get a couple moments and it was like, yo, what's up with this? And it was only to me. It wasn't like a copy. Let's see, 5 people copied. And I
think I said, let me get a quote for this.
Or just what's up with this car? Why is it something, an issue or something? And I just kind of, whatever. And it happened a couple times. Enough to, not some month long.
It's okay, own it, bro.
It was 2 or 3 times where it was enough to say, dude, fix this. Do something different with your thing. So that was when I just started if I don't need to answer it and somebody else is on it, it's gone. It's gone. If it's important enough for me to keep it, I'm just moving it.
Moving it where?
Just to because I have a
folder,
crap ton of folders. I have a folder for every account that we have. I have a folder
so now when you put in the folder, do you have to check each individual folder to see what's to do in there?
No, I'm not filing it before I do anything. If I have to do something with it and it's done, it's gone. But if it's
you delete that?
Yeah, but if it's I want to keep this.
So if somebody says to you,
some rates, I'm not gonna delete that. I'm gonna say I'll keep that for that just because I want to know exactly where it's
at. If somebody says to you, Thomas, what's up with the Ford F-150
yeah.
with Mrs. Jones?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, it's in transit, sent. You delete that email?
Yeah.
Now, what if you need to reference the fact that you told them it was sent, and you need to pull it up? Hey, man, you sent this to me on the 26th, and I responded on the 27th.
Well, now I have a new thing to worry about.
Do you delete your sent folder?
No.
Okay,
no.
So that's for the
massive.
record.
That's massive.
Yeah. So
that's never happened though. Where it's yeah. And then
people never say to you, "Did you ever send me a response on this?"
No. I've never had that. That would freak me out. You're making me anxious now. Do I have to go home and check? Let me make sure. Yeah. So and the thing was, I just wanted to know because I had I woke. So yes, this was
what
yesterday.
What made you ask it? Because we never even got.
I woke up and I just felt I looked at my. It was I think I took Friday off or something. It was something weird, and then it was just so much going on at the moment, and it was a fire happening, and I just didn't want to miss anything. And so that morning I woke up. The next morning I woke up yo, I wanna get my countdown to whatever. Just to make sure
You just woke up thinking about
I just want to clean this out. When you come in your office, let me just it's just too much going on.
Marie Kondo, my desk real quick.
Instead of having I just want my emails to be tidy enough where I could just look at it without feeling any angst, right?
Out of clarity.
And then so I'm yo, I wonder, and we just happened to be talking, I think. Yeah. So I'm how many? And then you just sent me into a whirlwind of and then I didn't do it.
I was gonna say, I made you feel better, didn't I?
You affected my goal.
So let's talk about that for a second, okay? So I gave you a pass to not do something you thought you needed to do.
I thought long and hard though. I didn't just go, oh okay, well I don't have to do it.
Well, I argued long and hard that was some bullshit having to do that.
But then I didn't necessarily agree with you on the phone. No, I didn't. I had to think about it for a minute, just to make sure where I felt it, because I didn't want to just. You can't just
agree with me. That sets a dangerous precedent when you start.
You can't abort your goal that quick,
So you wait till you hang up and then you
I hung up and then aborted. Then I thought about it, because I guess to me, the one part I can't do. I couldn't have the unread messages, because I know for sure I would have unread or not read.
Because you need to see that that zero or that blank next to the inbox, and then when you see a 1, you know, oh snap.
Something new. I mean,
then when you go and you check it, don't you feel like, damn, I just dropped everything to go check what this was, and it was just the food arrived in the break room, you know,
or Home Depot,
or Home Depot,
another sale. Like
Wayfair's got another coupon.
Why does Home Depot keep sending me toilets for sale?
You ask yourself that.
I don't get it. But but it is more. I mean, because I do in my emails, I do a lot of I'll be in the folder for doing something and try to make sure whatever's happening and we're resolving an issue. But then, I'm not gonna see the one pop up and I gotta check it immediately. I just know 10 emails in the last 10 minutes, maybe something's happening.
Maybe something's on fire right now.
Let me go check, and then if it is what it is, I just delete what I got to delete.
Okay. Now you said something before about how we had our conversation and you changed your mind. And you didn't, you kind of changed course, and you're like, okay, I guess in a way I kind of gave you permission. And I think there's this really interesting idea, this giving people permission thing. I gave you permission not to be zero inbox guy.
Yeah.
And
you freed me from that. Thank you.
Well, you wait and see what happens. I mean, you might be having another conversation in 6 months about how
terrible
the F-150 never got delivered.
F-150.
And so, but I think that there's a couple things I want to talk about. One is how people will tell you not to do something you are already doing. Like you have a standard with your inbox percent. Mm-hmm. You got a standard, right? And then somebody else is going to tell you, hey man, that's not important. Don't do that. Right. That's silly. Right. You don't got to do all that.
Right.
You don't got to be all that now.
Right.
And then you have to make a decision. Am I going to listen to this person, or am I going to listen to my own inner standard? Right. And there's a lot of people. I've been thinking about this a lot, right? As I'm thinking about young people who are coming up and they're trying to find their way in an organization, and they're trying to find, the way who they're gonna be, and they're building their personal brand in their organization and what they're about and their principles and stuff like that. And I remember as a young person, I was working at Pods in the call center in Dallas, Texas, selling moves over the phone. And every single day, 9 times out of 10, I would wear a tie to work.
Yeah.
That was my deal. I had a button down, tie, slacks, shoes. That was my deal. Nobody else did that.
Yeah.
Not after they got hired. Right? Nobody else did that. And I always did that. And what's interesting is every level I was at in the organization, they told me, now you don't have to do that.
Right.
Oh, guess what? It's day 2. Now you don't have to do that.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, now you're a supervisor. Now you don't have to do that.
Right.
Oh, now you're a manager level. Hey, you know what? We're not with the peons. You don't gotta impress anybody now. You don't gotta do that.
Right.
Or now you're senior management meetings. Nobody else is wearing a tie, and you look like a little eager beaver over there.
Yeah.
Now you don't gotta do that.
Yeah.
And I had a manager one time who told me, Matt Tillotson was his name. Shout out Matt. I don't think he likes me, but shout out.
Shout out to Matt. Whether you like him or not,
yeah, right.
Like you.
I like you. And so he was like, no, Ben, that's your personal brand. Rock that. Do you.
Right. And I love that, because speaking of dress, I mean, obviously we, at this moment.
You look phenomenal, by the way.
Thank you. We're dressed very different. I mean, number one, I work from home, but I think whenever I go in the office, I dress up.
Okay.
Not every day that I'm there, but I definitely just dress how I feel. And at the
you wear buttons on your shirt?
Yeah, I have buttons normally and pants too.
Oh,
yeah, pants for sure. But when I met you though, I am, and I don't even know what year. DC. So it had to be 5 years ago so 2013 or 12 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So I met you though, you were like this, maybe 3-piece suit, I think.
3-piece suit, maybe a little slimmer.
I don't know. I wasn't. Yeah. I didn't scale you right there. Mm-hmm. But so I think at that moment, and I think I looked fair. I mean, cause in this industry though, at conferences and things, most movers aren't really worried about that. Unless they're like the guy, like the president or CEO.
Even the guy doesn't do that.
I mean, some of the guys, like
the guy is like the open collar blazer,
yeah,
khakis.
And then there's a few that are just like, old school. This is how I dress every day. But then when you came in as a young guy, I'm sure you got a lot of like, oh, why are you, whatever. But then after meeting you, I'm like, dude, I've wanted to do that, and I had when I first came to the conferences, I was like, I was eager beaver, and I had the tie and everything, and I went to AMSA. No disrespect to AMSA, but at the time it was more like just we're like company names right here, polo shirt. You know, why do you have a suit on? Why do you have a full suit on at your booth? Like that's not how it works. So I kind of dialed back a little bit, and then when I met you, I'm like, dude, I want that to be my personal brand. So like as soon as I met you, I'm like, yep, we're full out. And next thing you know, like at the next few conferences, we're like walking down the hallways looking like we're going to Wall Street.
Looking real fly, setting the bar for everybody.
And I think it changed. I mean, you changed how I dressed at the thing. So I'm sure that other people probably, kind of put on a little bit harder.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that, and I think you gave me freedom too.
And that's permission.
To step it up.
And so that's where I was going with this whole permission thing, right? It's like so often we look to other people for permission to do what we already know in our heart is the right thing to do.
Yeah, right.
Whether it be morally or even professionally, like I'm going to strive, I'm going to, be a super duper try hard type of dude, and a lot of people are like, why are you trying so hard? Why are you making us look bad? Why are you raising the bar? I'm like, bro, we've got vision, man. We're trying to go places here, man. I'm not built for this here. I'm built for that, and so, and that's hard because people hate you for that. Yeah. Not you.
They just don't understand it, and they don't think that they want to or can or.
It puts them on the spot.
Yeah, it does make it. Doing certain things makes people uncomfortable. Most people, I've seen handle it. Most people handle it well. They just compliment, and they may think something different or whatever, but. There's a lot of people that they'll have little side comments like take LinkedIn for instance in these videos, just that whole we're a different generation will look at that and say like you don't have to do all that or why how does that help or what's the ROI on that? What's the ROI on that video? Like do you have a guy call you or a person call you and ask you to ship 1,000 cars because of the one time that you said hello on Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever it is,
Right.
And
love that.
But it's LinkedIn to me and doing videos and putting yourself out or stepping outside of the box a little bit and being daring enough to do that, which is it's not easy to do. And it's not necessarily fun all the time because you get caught in these moments where you got have to put something like dope out. Yeah. But to do that is just like coming to a conference suited and booted, ready to go.
Because you're definitely putting yourself. You're definitely putting yourself forward though too. And you're definitely putting yourself in the spotlight and saying, "Hey, look at me, everybody."
And you're risking. And then it is like obviously there is an ROI, but then obviously you are representing your company. But the person you're representing, the thing you're representing the most is yourself. Because if you go out there and act an idiot or just make terrible content or whatever, that's on you. It obviously affects your company or whatever, but. That's once the company fires, just like you said, if you mess up, the company fires you. Yeah. They're clear from you.
Well, I'm taking a risk every time I make a video.
Yeah.
What if I say something controversial? What if I make a joke or something and say something and then it gets turned another way and then it gets ahead of steam and then people are, it's probably not so much going to happen in my industry, but people are calling for your job. This happens in sports all the time.
Yeah. Somebody says something, they're just being themselves, and then next thing you know, it's like an issue. So I think that because you actually my first video we're jumping around now because I kind of wanted to talk about what in my mind made us think to do this because and I was going to ask you this before. So number one, you talk about permission. You kind of gave me permission to do a video because this time last year. Truck pull is what? Oh, it was like when was it? Like in May or something.
It was May of last year.
You did a video.
Yes.
A live video
on Facebook. Facebook Live.
Oh, it was on Facebook?
Because we didn't have LinkedIn Live, but we were doing it live.
You did Facebook Live, and then you turned and you did something. You're like, hey, I got Thomas Bailey, and then you did the video. I liked it. It was spur of the moment. It was cool. You just got more awareness, and I wish you threw it on LinkedIn or if it get copied it or whatever because that was a dope moment. 2 days later, I went back and I did that video that made you call me and say bro, I don't know who that was that just made that video, but I've never seen you like that. Remember, I did the video with Barry Sanders.
Yeah. Barry Sanders was the bomb.
And you gave me permission to do that because you did it in a professional setting, and not too many people at that time. Especially not in our industry, was doing that.
A year ago, people weren't even doing. I feel like 3 times, 4 times more people doing videos now.
And then
which is also why we have to step up another level.
Because you did that on Facebook, and then I threw the video on LinkedIn. I did a few after that, and then I went to ERC, and that's when I realized like how different that was. I understood it was different. It looked cool when you scroll down and see me. But when I walked in at ERC, I think in Dallas, you weren't there because you were having a baby. Which is way more important than
under center
ERC, right? Like, come on, honey.
Yeah.
But then I walked in, and people that I did not know at all, I wasn't even connected with them. Some of them on LinkedIn that came up and said, "Hey, you're the guy that does the videos. Those are awesome. I wish I could do that."
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, we kept going. I think I challenged you to do more videos.
You definitely did challenge
me.
And
then you start seeing more people do them, and it's great. I mean, I think it's a good way to do it, and as long as it makes sense. I went down a road that I think that was maybe too personal. I think at one point, and I kind of pulled back because I wanted to make sure that my brand was both representing me, but then also the company. I mean, because I think you can go really far the other direction, though. I mean, because you can like. Yeah. I could go forever and not talk about shipping cars, which is not necessarily great.
I don't know, man. I don't know if it isn't great or not, because I think that, I mean, listen, you tell me about shipping an eighth of a tank of gas, and I'm like, okay, I thought it was no, or you said a quarter tank, and I thought it was an eighth tank. Okay, that's interesting for like a second.
Yeah.
We just debated that for 5 seconds, and now I'm done with that.
Yeah, I'm done too.
We could talk about you as a person and the things you've been through and the things that you've done and where you're trying to go and your aspirations and what drives you and what motivates you. I can talk about that for 5 days.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So when we talk about what do we want to talk about,
right?
You know, I think the things that real stick to your ribs stuff, the meaty stuff, the stuff that people are gonna tune in and say, "Hey, I identify with that. That made me a better person for life."
Yeah. Yeah, I like
that's the real real talk stuff.
I mean, if you look at YouTube, like all the views that are, I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff. You know, you can just look at whatever people doing backflips off buildings, whatever. But the things that get the most attraction are people that are just being themselves, and you walk away from the video feeling better.
Inspirational moments.
Inspirational. So like whether it's from fitness to business to IT, whatever. Those people make people walk away better. You know, like I want to watch a video and feel like I didn't just waste my time and just hear some cool information really quickly about like shipping a car or household goods. Mm-hmm. Like I want that moment, because if people knew, I think now that you're doing videos, people know you a little more. I mean, because at conferences you have like conference Ben. Mm-hmm. I definitely think there's a conference Ben there.
Yeah, I lose my damn mind.
Yeah, you're like, conference Ben is different. Yeah. He wears a hat and he's like ready to go, and so then. But I think that like with these videos, you're getting closer to why I've always hung with you, you know, and why I mean, because the conference Ben, like you came in and people like, I don't necessarily like that guy.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, what do you mean? Ben is awesome.
That's a little much.
I mean, because you're just you, and I didn't know I didn't know that was just you until I started hanging with you. I'm like, you're that way all the time.
I called him at 8 o'clock in the morning, and like, I'm fired up, and a lot of it's the coffee.
I had my first cup. Yes, I had my first cup of coffee, like literally steaming.
Yeah.
And you called me after 2 cups, and I'm like, can you just call me back like in a few minutes? It was just too much. It was too. But so my question after all that bouncing around, my question I wanted to ask you was, we talked the other day about why we're doing this. Like why would we do this? And that leads to why LinkedIn. Why do you do the videos? Remember we had a conversation where I said, I kind of admitted that doing these videos for me kept me from leaving the industry, or kept me in my job. Like the reason why I feel I'm still working at Real Trans, other than an amazing boss, an amazing structure. I mean, obviously, other than that, I mean, because you have to have that.
All that great stuff.
Right. I mean, because you can perception, you can feel like, oh, I can go anywhere and get this, but you can't. You can't go everywhere and get and walk in and have a good boss. You just can't. There's crappy people everywhere. You know.
Yeah.
But other than that, like that's what kind of helped me refocus. You know, I mean, because especially on the sales side, I mean, I don't know if it's the same thing for you, but on the sales side, that cycle can get pretty like treadmill. I mean, not treadmills, but like what do they call it with the
like you're on a hamster on a wheel
like
kind of thing.
You can get like real hamster wheelish, even if you're closing business. If it's just not like something exciting, it's not like this big thing.
Yeah.
Or if you get good at that and you're just nailing them or whatever.
So there's a question in here.
Yeah. So the question is, why do you like LinkedIn? I mean, I like it because I use it as a creative outlet. It reminds me that I'm who I am in this industry, and that's why people hopefully use Real Trans at some points, is because of me and who I am.
So for me, I've always felt a deep calling in my life to try to help people, and it's always been a part of who I am and I've only recently been able to like put my finger on it, and it kind of sounds cheesy saying that, like it sounds like something people are like kind of supposed to say, but I mean I even remember like tutoring kids in like first grade, second grade. There was a kid with special needs, and I just like found myself working with him on math problems at recess. Like it's just in my, I'm blessed. I'm so blessed with a heart for people, and I got that from my grandmother. And so I think part of it is I want to reach people. I want to help people and inspire them to be their best selves, best version of themselves, and cut through a lot of the bullshit that people have in front of their, like these blinders that people put, on what they can accomplish and what they can do and what's possible. And maybe they need permission from somebody, and maybe I can be that dude that gives them permission, even if we've never even met because we're connected on LinkedIn. The other thing is, I went to school. I was an English major. I was an English and Africana Studies major in college, and I'm a writer by training. You know what I mean? And they say, being a writer is not like a job. It's like a calling. Like if you're a writer, writers write. You don't need to be an author to be a writer. And I think that's what LinkedIn shows me too. I write stuff on LinkedIn all the time.
Yeah.
And what writing is actually the physical use of a pen or a keyboard to put thoughts and words out on paper, right? So now we're just skipping all that nonsense and we're just talking right into the camera.
Exactly.
So writers really are about having ideas, and being able to articulate ideas, and that's what language does for us. So I think when I look at this platform like LinkedIn, and I like LinkedIn because Facebook is full of a lot of idiots, and Instagram is full of a lot of shallow, beautiful people, and I'm not stupid and I'm not beautiful, so I'm on LinkedIn. Okay, this is just my community, right? I love being a professional. I love working. I love the game. I love the hustle. I love the fact I can come in these four walls and I can channel this into a way that makes money for me and my family and other people. I love the partnership aspect. I just love working. I love wearing a tie to work. I love the whole thing, And so LinkedIn is the community for me,
Exactly.
And so it's funny. So I'm going to tell you something that I've never told anybody.
All right.
Yeah, so I remember I was on the train with my mom in New York, and she asked me like, "So what do you want to be when you grow up?"
There's no crying allowed, by the way.
No, I'm not gonna cry.
Okay.
She's like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I've never told anybody that's not because it's emotional, but because it's so audacious that it's embarrassing.
Okay.
And so she's like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I think I was in high school and I was studying Mark Twain. And I was studying like what a great orator he was, what a great writer he was, how he was so ahead of his time and progressive in the way he thought about everything from race relations to the South versus the North to just the dynamics of democracy in our country and everything. And I said to my mom, I thought about it for a while, and I said, I want to be the greatest thinker of my generation. And I've never told anybody that because I never wanted to put that on wax and have to actually live up to that, like you were saying before. I never wanted to put that on wax and actually have to live up to that because I understood what that mean. That was the ambitious. That was lofty.
Yeah.
That's audacious. And I never dared to actually speak that into the world until now. So, but that's really what I want to be. And I think God has given me and endowed me with the gifts I need with His grace to be able to do that. And the key is to do that in a way that helps other people.
Yeah.
Because people.
Because you could go in a way that just helps you or puts you on a pedestal.
No, it's not like exactly. I'm trying to help people understand. I'm trying to give people clarity in their life about like how to achieve things professionally, how to achieve things in their relationships with their wife or their kids or whatever. You know what I mean? Just mentoring people, and if I can mentor people even if I don't know them, like that's to me is beautiful. That combines the scalability of business and being a national account salesperson and scaling business development and looking at people like how do I scale helping people?
Right.
And that's
I just outside looking at me, you're doing a damn good job at that. I mean, I've heard somebody call you the good ideas guy. So
you never told me that.
It was.
I'm a words of affirmation guy. You got to tell me these things, man. When somebody tells you, I need a call immediately. Please.
It might have been this week. I don't know. But so you're the good ideas guy, and I mean, and the thing was like
I might run with that. It might be my new new LinkedIn. Can that be my new subtitle?
What is it now?
The Charming Menace. And I shout out Tessa Boone. She gave me that monitor.
Oh, okay.
She because I kept bugging the shit out of her to do a video with me on LinkedIn.
And she did it.
And she's like, You're the Charming Menace, you're a pain in my butt, but I like you, so I'm gonna do it. And
it was good.
And it was great. We did 4 parts, and we plugged the hell out of GLRC, and we're gonna meet our fundraising goals. It's gonna be a phenomenal conference, but I gotta do that. I push people to be in an uncomfortable way and to try to be their best self.
And that's also why you're probably pretty good at sales.
But I can only sell things I believe in.
It's tough. And
that's why I'm so good. Because I believe in 100%.
Yeah,
so I push it to the point of being annoying.
Yeah. And then that's why I think that just talking about the not being able to sell things unless you love them. When you would compliment me back in the day when I was just, even now, like I probably still kind of shy away from it, but I always compare myself to you from a sales perspective or a salesperson, but like what type of salesperson you are. You're different than your pitch. Like if you walk into a RMC before me, and then I'm right after that, they're gonna see the two polar opposites of like a sales pitch.
What do you mean by that?
I've never seen you in a room.
You never seen me do a pitch, so how do you even know?
But I know for sure. I know for sure it's different than mine.
How do you? I mean, like, give me an example.
I mean, so like if I just feel like if when I picture, let's just picture Ben Cross in front of 5 people, and they're 10,000 household goods shipment a year account, and he's walking in. He's obviously 3-piece suited up, and he's got everything ironed, even the undershirt under the shirt. And then I just feel like you'd walk in, and I'm not sure if you're like a PowerPoint guy. I am. You are?
Yeah.
It makes it worse. So
why? Because
I'm not a PowerPoint guy.
Did you think I wasn't a PowerPoint guy?
I didn't think you were a PowerPoint guy.
Why would I not be a PowerPoint
because
guy?
I just feel like you just come in. I feel like you're like
because I can talk. I don't need pictures.
Yes.
Like, let's shut the video off and just do audio.
I've seen you do a PowerPoint with like 3 slides, and the rest of it was just all like off the top.
Yeah.
And it went well.
Okay.
So I picture like this whole like a very sales-ish, if that makes sense, very salesy pitch. Like you've had your elevator pitch since like 12. Like, and mine is more like I just feel like
I'm Thomas.
Hey, so
there's only 4 car carriers. Choose me. My rates are okay. My quality's good.
But
I'm your guy.
But you're gonna like me. And then they go, sure. All right, that's great. Loved it. But I just feel like we just come at it. We want this, like, and that's why I think this I like. We talk about why we want the podcast because we want the same things in life. I mean, there's not much to argue there. We both have a family, 2 kids.
Yeah. We have similar jobs, similar industries.
But we definitely approach things from 2 opposite sides of the thing.
Night and day.
And I think that like that could go back to like a bunch of different reasons why we come at it 2 different ways. But I think we're both very good at what we do. And then
for sure.
And even just like right now, like I'm like t-shirt and slacks.
We could not be more different in many ways.
And maybe I shouldn't have went with all black.
I think it's a little on the nose, but
yes, I'm sorry. Next time I'll switch up a little bit. But we had these great conversations on the phone, and it's like they're funny because of how polar opposite we are, but we're still like doing the same thing, which is weird to me. Like, it's not like I'm in like operations and you're in sales, and we do the same thing. That's
why our conversations are so good, I think, and that's why I felt the need to let's record this. Let's put this on the record. I think it's entertaining because our repartee is great. but also, and we know each other so well, so we could be like straight up and, you know, you try to tell me something, and I don't think you're telling the truth. I'll tell you all that. Yeah. But I think, I think people can learn from it, and I think people can use our lives as a lens to look at their own life and say, I've been through that, or I want to go through that. How do I get there? You know, and I think it's our opportunity to share our story, which I think we have great stories. You know.
Yeah, and I think so. Like I think on the next one or whatever, I'd love to. I mean, so we talked about whether we're gonna go personal or not. I mean, I'd love to talk about how our careers started. Like,
how did we get here?
How did I get here? You know, because we definitely came at it two total different ways.
You've been with the same company your entire career.
Yeah.
And I've been a millennial job hopper.
Yeah, and we got to talk about the job hopper thing.
And we got to talk about the benefits and the cons, pros and cons of both.
Yeah, because I think there's definitely some good stuff to say about both.
Yeah.
And I think job hoppers. I think that's kind of whack to say. I mean, because it's like
it's ridiculous.
It's like derogatory.
It's reductive.
Just because just because I have a talent and other people may see it and may appreciate it at that moment more than the person or the company that I'm with at the time, or I just feel like I can grow personally. As a family member.
I like how you're making the case for changing jobs, and you've never actually changed jobs before.
But no, I just don't like when people say, "Oh,
watch out, Frank."
There's a job hopper, you know, and it's like, why? I mean, why wouldn't you if you?
Well, let's can that one because
LeBron
we're gonna
James,
let's.
He's a job hopper.
LeBron is a huge job hopper, and it didn't work out for him in LA last year.
Let's just ride this out and see where it goes.
You want to really go with LeBron?
I mean, I don't. Yeah. I mean,
now let's keep this job, because I think the career arc, job hopping, the millennial bias, I think all that is great fodder for next week when we do another one of these.
Yeah, absolutely.
How did this feel for you?
I felt great. I feel good because I want to hear. I mean, I know about your career. I mean,
it might surprise you some things too.
I know. I know like some of the path, like at least the places, you know. But I'd love to hear more about, you know.
Well, and I think it'd be fun to talk about the future too, and where do we want to go? What are our goals?
Yeah.
You know, I think the personal stuff is I think that's interesting and that's huge, and you know, so I think all that's great. Gosh, man, we've probably been recording for over an hour.
57.
Has it been 57 minutes?
Yeah. So
you want to do like the join us next week?
Yeah, next week we'll be talking about careers. How did we get here? Not, you know, direct. Not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I drove, but.
I drove a black Jeep. You?
Kind of blackish Jeep.
You drove a black Jeep.
Grayish black Jeep. But how do we get here? How do we get here in our lives? And then if it goes to, you know, family and other things like that and future goals, let's do it.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is our first time doing it. Obviously, it's kind of proof of concept here.
Yeah.
And just two friends talking, being honest and real with each other. And I hope people could find some benefit in it.
And if you want to hear Ben talk about anything, he will do it. Just comment and say what you want him to talk about, and next week we'll loop it in somehow. And we'll talk about.
We're gonna take questions. We should take questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Throw it in the comments.
Only for Ben though.
Slide into Tommy's DMs.
No DMs. Only for Ben. If you have a question, it's only for Ben. None for me because you don't want my answer. You don't.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. Appreciate it.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Take care. Thanks, bro.